Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This audiobook is a compilation of the profound thoughts and teachings of Syekh Siti Jenar, a Sufi figure shrouded in mystery and profound wisdom. The excerpts presented here are drawn from his 140 teachings, which delve into the essence of humanity, divinity, and the nature of life itself. It has been prepared with great sincerity by Rusli Weahamat, aiming to help us all explore the depth and wisdom of his messages. Delivered in a relaxed yet scholarly manner, let us embark on a journey to uncover the deeper meanings behind each of his teachings, inviting reflection and understanding. Chapter 1: Introduction to Syekh Siti Jenar, a controversial Sufi figure. Syekh Siti Jenar, a name that echoes through the annals of Javanese spirituality, is both revered and misunderstood. His teachings, deeply rooted in the essence of Islamic mysticism, have been a source of enlightenment for many and a cause of controversy for others. Born in an era of cultural and religious transition in Java, Syekh Siti Jenar emerged as a figure who sought to bridge the gap between the esoteric truths of Sufism and the everyday lives of the common people. His emphasis on understanding the essence of faith, rather than merely adhering to rituals, challenged the established religious authorities of his time. The man behind the teachings. Though little is known about his early life, Syekh Siti Jenar's profound understanding of spirituality set him apart. He believed that true knowledge of God begins with self-awareness. This belief led him to teach that the divine is not distant or separate, but resides within every individual. One of his most famous assertions, "Ingsun inilah Allah," I am Allah, was not a claim of divinity, but a profound statement about the unity of existence. To understand his words, one must move beyond literal interpretations and delve into the mystical realms where the self and the divine are inseparable. Conflict with religious authorities. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings were not without resistance. The religious authorities of his time, bound by dogmatic interpretations, viewed his ideas as heretical. His critique of ritualism and superficial religiosity was perceived as a threat to the established order. Despite the opposition, Syekh Siti Jenar continued to spread his teachings, emphasizing the importance of inner transformation over external compliance. He believed that understanding the divine essence within oneself was the ultimate goal of life. Legacy of a Sufi master. Though his physical life ended in controversy, some accounts suggest he was executed for his teachings, Syekh Siti Jenar's legacy endures. His teachings inspire those who seek to understand the deeper truths of existence and the divine connection that binds all of creation. As we explore his thoughts in this audiobook, let us remember that his journey was not just his own, but a call for all of humanity to awaken to the essence of truth. Syekh Siti Jenar's story serves as a reminder that the path to enlightenment often requires courage, humility, and a willingness to challenge convention. Let us now delve deeper into the essence of humanity, as Syekh Siti Jenar so eloquently taught in the next chapter. Chapter 2: The Essence of Humanity. Knowing oneself, knowing God. The teachings of Syekh Siti Jenar emphasize a timeless truth. The path to understanding God begins with understanding oneself. This idea is encapsulated in the famous saying, "Man Arafa Nafsahu faqad Arafa rabbahu." Whoever knows themselves knows their Lord. What does it mean to know oneself? To know oneself is not merely to recognize one's physical identity or social roles. It is a journey inward, an exploration of the soul, the essence of our existence. According to Syekh Siti Jenar, our true self is a reflection of the divine. By uncovering our deepest essence, we align ourselves with the ultimate truth of God's presence. This teaching invites us to question, who am I beyond my name, title, and physical form? What drives my thoughts, actions, and desires? How does my existence relate to the divine essence? Syekh Siti Jenar taught that within every human lies a divine spark, a connection to the Creator. However, this divine reality is often obscured by ignorance, ego, and material distractions. To know oneself is to transcend these barriers and embrace the divine nature within, the unity between self and God. For Syekh Siti Jenar, the self and God are not separate entities. His declaration, Ingsun inilah Allah, I am Allah, is not a literal claim of divinity, but a mystical insight into the unity of existence. It suggests that by knowing the self in its truest form, one perceives the divine presence that permeates all of creation. This perspective challenges us to move beyond dualistic thinking. God is not a distant being, but is present within and around us. Recognizing this unity dissolves the illusion of separation between the creator and the created. Practical steps to self-knowledge. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings encourage reflection and mindfulness as tools for self-discovery. Here are some practical steps inspired by his wisdom. 1. Self-reflection. Set aside time daily to reflect on your thoughts, emotions, and actions. 2. Mindfulness. Be present in the moment, fully aware of your surroundings and inner state. 3. Seek knowledge. Study spiritual teachings and learn from those who embody wisdom and humility. 4. Silence and solitude. Embrace moments of silence to connect with your inner self and the divine. 5. Sincerity in worship. Approach acts of worship with sincerity, focusing on their deeper meaning rather than outward form. Knowing God through knowing oneself. As we peel back the layers of ego, ignorance, and illusion, we come to realize that the divine is not an external entity to be sought, but an intrinsic reality to be experienced. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings remind us that God is closer to us than our own heartbeat, waiting to be discovered within. By embarking on the journey of self-knowledge, we not only uncover the essence of our being, but also draw nearer to the divine. This chapter is an invitation to reflect deeply on who we are and to embrace the sacred unity that binds all existence. In the next chapter, we will delve into the profound mystery of divinity expressed in Syekh Siti Jenar's assertion, I am Allah, and the symbolic significance of the title Prabhu Satmata. Chapter 3. The Mystery of Divinity in I Am Allah. One of Syekh Siti Jenar's most provocative teachings is the declaration, Ingsun inilah Allah, or I am Allah. At first glance, such a statement may appear to contradict Islamic orthodoxy. However, Syekh Siti Jenar's words are steeped in the mystical language of Sufism, requiring a deeper understanding of their symbolic and spiritual meaning. Unpacking the phrase, I am Allah, Syekh Siti Jenar's declaration is not a claim of personal divinity, but an affirmation of the interconnectedness between the creator and creation. In Sufism, this understanding is rooted in the concept of wahdat al-wujud, the unity of existence, which posits that all of creation is a manifestation of God's divine essence. To say, I am Allah, is to recognize the divine presence within oneself. It is an acknowledgement that every soul carries a divine spark, and through spiritual enlightenment, one can experience the unity between the self and God. The role of ego and selflessness. Understanding. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings requires distinguishing between the lower self, nafs, and the higher self, ruh. The lower self is tied to ego, desires, and materialism, which distance us from God. The higher self is a reflection of divine attributes, connecting us to our Creator. When Syekh Siti Jenar speaks of I am Allah, he is referring to the higher self, completely surrendered and devoid of ego. This state of selflessness allows the divine reality to shine through. The symbolism of Prabhu Satmata. The title, Prabhu Satmata, translates to the king with the true vision. This symbolizes a state of spiritual enlightenment where one perceives the world through the lens of divine truth. The king signifies mastery of the self, desires, and understanding. True vision represents the ability to see beyond the physical realm into the metaphysical reality of existence. For Syekh Siti Jenar, being Prabhu Satmata is not about ruling over others, but achieving spiritual sovereignty over oneself, guided by divine insight. Bridging the divine and the mortal Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings challenge us to see God not as a distant being, but as an intimate presence within and around us. This does not diminish God's transcendence, but highlights his immanence. The divine is not separate from creation. Rather, it permeates every aspect of it. Through this understanding, we are reminded of the Quranic verse, "And we are closer to him than his jugular vein." Quran 50:16. This verse aligns with Syekh Siti Jenar's assertion that the divine is closer than we often realize. Recognizing this closeness is key to spiritual awakening. Lessons from this teaching. 1. Embrace humility. Recognize that divine reality is accessed through surrender, not arrogance. 2. Seek true vision. Strive for spiritual insight that transcends superficial understanding. 3. Unite with the divine. See every moment and action as an opportunity to connect with God. Criticism and misinterpretation. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings have often been misunderstood, leading to controversy. Critics argue that his statements blur the line between creator and creation. However, his followers see his words as a call to spiritual awakening and a deeper understanding of Tawheed, the oneness of God. In this chapter, we have explored the profound mystery behind Syekh Siti Jenar's statement, "I am Allah," and the symbolism of Prabhu Satmata. In the next chapter, we will delve further into the title of Prabhu Satmata, exploring whether it is merely a symbol or a representation of reality. Chapter 4. Prabhu Satmata, Symbol or Reality. The title Prabhu Satmata, often associated with Syekh Siti Jenar, has long been a subject of debate among scholars and spiritual seekers. To some, it is merely a symbolic representation of his teachings, while to others, it reflects a deeper metaphysical reality. This chapter explores the interpretations and implications of this enigmatic title. The etymology of Prabhu Satmata Prabhu means king or sovereign, a title often linked to authority and mastery. Satmata combines sat, truth, and mata, I, symbolizing the one who sees the truth. Together, the title represents a spiritual master who perceives reality as it truly is, unclouded by illusions or worldly distractions. Symbolism in Prabhu Satmata. Many interpret the title as a metaphor for spiritual enlightenment. Sovereignty. The title emphasizes mastery over the self, particularly the ego and desires, aligning with the Sufi path of annihilation of the self, fana, and subsistence in God, baqa. True vision. It signifies the ability to see beyond the physical realm, perceiving the divine reality that permeates all existence. In this sense, Prabhu Satmata is not a literal ruler, but a symbolic one, ruling over his own spiritual journey with unwavering truth and wisdom. Reality or claim. Critics of Syekh Siti Jenar often argue that the title Prabhu Satmata suggests arrogance or an illegitimate claim to divinity. However, this interpretation overlooks the Sufi tradition of employing metaphors to convey spiritual truths. Syekh Siti Jenar never sought worldly power. Instead, he sought to awaken people to their spiritual essence. The title reflects his role as a guide, helping others recognize the kingdom of truth within themselves. Prabhu Satmata as a call to awakening. The teachings associated with this title challenge us to 1. Seek inner sovereignty. Master the self by overcoming attachments and desires. 2. Cultivate true vision. Strive for an understanding of reality that transcends superficial appearances. 3. Embody. Truth, live authentically, and align actions with divine principles. By doing so, we can all become Prabhu Satmata in our own lives, seeing and living the truth with clarity and purpose. The legacy of Prabhu Satmata. Syekh Siti Jenar's choice to adopt this title underscores his mission, to challenge societal norms and religious formalism that, in his view, distracted from the essence of faith. He sought to bring people back to the core of Tawheed, the oneness of God. and the realization of God's presence within and around us. His teachings, though controversial, continue to inspire those seeking deeper spiritual understanding. Conclusion. Whether viewed as a symbol or a reflection of reality, the title Prabhu Satmata encapsulates the profound wisdom and spiritual insight of Syekh Siti Jenar. It serves as a reminder of the ultimate goal of the spiritual journey, to align oneself with divine truth and live in harmony with it. In the next chapter, we will delve deeper into Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings on the maqam of existence, the relationship between the servant and the Almighty. Chapter 5. The Maqam of Existence, the relationship between servant and the Almighty. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings often explore the maqam of existence, or the spiritual station that defines the relationship between a servant, hamba, and the Almighty, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This chapter examines his views on the essence of being, the nature of creation, and the oneness of existence, wahdatul wujud, challenging us to reflect on our place in the divine order. Understanding the maqam, spiritual station. In Sufism, a maqam is a level of spiritual attainment, a state of consciousness achieved through devotion and reflection. Syekh Siti Jenar emphasized, 1. Awareness of divine presence. Every moment of existence is infused with God's presence. To live is to be in constant acknowledgement of His reality. 2. Oneness with the Creator. Creation is not separate from the Creator, but an expression of His will and essence. He likened the relationship to that of a wave and the ocean, distinct in appearance, yet inseparable in reality. Servant and the Almighty. A duality or unity. Syekh Siti Jenar often spoke of the unity of being, that the servant and the Creator are not separate entities, but interconnected through divine essence. The servant's role. The servant must recognize their dependence on Allah, surrendering ego and worldly attachments. The Creator's presence. Allah is closer to us than our jugular vein. Quran, Surah, Qaf, 16. An intimate presence guiding and sustaining existence. This perspective led to his controversial assertion that the human self could reflect divine attributes when aligned with divine will. Annihilation of the self, fana. Syekh Siti Jenar emphasized the process of fana, annihilation of the self. To truly understand the maqam of existence, one must dissolve the ego and become one with the divine reality. This does not mean literal disappearance, but a transformation where the individual's desires align with divine will. The maqam as a journey, not a destination. Syekh taught that the maqam of existence is not a static state, but a dynamic journey. 1. Realizing one's smallness, acknowledging human limitations and the greatness of Allah. 2. Connecting through worship, prayer, dhikr, and contemplation as means of aligning with divine will. 3. Becoming a manifestation of divine attributes, reflecting God's mercy, compassion, and justice in daily life. Challenges to traditional views. Traditional scholars often viewed Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings on the maqam of existence as heretical, as they seem to blur the boundaries between creator and creation. However, Syekh never claimed equality with Allah. His teachings were rooted in humility and submission. His goal was to inspire a deeper connection with the divine, beyond ritualistic practices. The servant as Khalifa, representative of Allah. One of the key elements in Sheikh's teachings is the concept of humans as Khalifa Allah, representatives of Allah on earth. As Khalifa, humans are tasked with upholding divine justice and spreading goodness. This responsibility requires recognizing one's maqam and striving to embody divine values. Conclusion. The maqam of existence, as described by Syekh Siti Jenar, challenges us to go beyond superficial religiosity and seek a profound connection with Allah. It invites us to 1. Reflect on our dependence on the Almighty. 2. Recognize his presence in every aspect of life. 3. Strive to align our actions with his will. In the next chapter, we will explore Syekh Siti Jenar's critique of ritualism devoid of essence, encouraging us to distinguish between outward belief and inner reality. Chapter 6. Distinguishing Belief from Essence. In this chapter, Syekh Siti Jenar critiques the tendency of some to focus on the outward form of religion while neglecting its essence. He emphasizes that true faith lies not in ritualistic displays, but in understanding sincerity and the internalization of spiritual truths. Outward belief versus inner essence. Syekh Siti Jenar often questioned those who prioritized outward expressions of piety but lacked genuine connection to Allah. He warned against 1. Rituals. Without reflection, performing acts of worship mechanically without understanding their purpose or meaning. 2. Superficial faith. Adherence to religious practices solely for social recognition or fear of judgment. He taught that while rituals are important, they are merely tools to reach a deeper connection with Allah. Without sincerity and awareness, these actions become hollow. Essence as the heart of worship. For Syekh Siti Jenar, the essence of worship lies in 1. Ikhlas, sincerity. Performing acts of devotion purely for Allah, free from ulterior motives. 2. Marifa, gnosis. Striving to know Allah intimately, beyond the confines of outward practices. 3. Tazkiyah, purification. Cleansing the heart from arrogance, hypocrisy, and attachment to worldly desires. He often quoted, "The one who prays but does not understand its meaning is like a bird trapped in a golden cage, beautiful on the outside, but imprisoned within." Critique of ritualism. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings resonated with those frustrated by the rigidity of religious formalism. He criticized blind imitation, taqlid, following religious practices without questioning or understanding their purpose. Clerical authority. Scholars who impose strict adherence to rituals without nurturing the spiritual growth of their followers. His critiques were not meant to reject rituals, but to challenge individuals to transcend them and seek the essence they point toward. Living faith, a call to action. Sheikh emphasized that true faith is not confined to the prayer mat or mosque, but is evident in daily life. He advocated 1. Service to humanity, acts of kindness, justice, and compassion as expressions of devotion to Allah. 2. Awareness of divine presence, seeing every moment and every action as an opportunity to connect with the Creator. 3. Integrity, aligning one's actions with the teachings of Islam, both in public and private. Examples from his teachings. Syekh Siti Jenar often used metaphors and parables to illustrate his points. One famous example: the seed and the tree. A seed may appear insignificant, but when nurtured, it grows into a mighty tree. Similarly, faith begins as a small spark, but must be cultivated to bear the fruits of understanding and good deeds. Relevance. Today. In the modern world, where appearances often overshadow substance, Syekh Siti Jenar's message is more relevant than ever. His teachings remind us to 1. Seek depth in worship, move beyond the surface, and delve into the spiritual meanings behind religious practices. 2. Avoid judgment. Focus on self-purification rather than criticizing others for their level of practice. 3. Strive for balance. Honor rituals while prioritizing sincerity and inner transformation. Conclusion. Syekh Siti Jenar's call to distinguish belief from essence challenges us to evaluate our own spiritual journey. Are we merely going through the motions, or are we striving to connect with Allah on a deeper level? In the next chapter, we will explore Sheikh's profound understanding of life and death as part of a single, unified journey toward divine realization. Chapter 7. Syekh Siti Jenar and the Concept of True Life. Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings on life and death offer profound insights into the spiritual journey of humanity. His understanding of life transcends physical existence, and his interpretation of death is not an end, but a transition to higher awareness. True life as a unified journey. Syekh Siti Jenar viewed life and death as interconnected, part of the same divine process. He taught that 1. Life is not limited to the physical realm. It is a reflection of Allah's eternal presence within creation. 2. Death is a return to the essence. It is not annihilation, but a reunion with the Creator. He often said, "Death is not the end of life. It is the opening of the veil to true reality." Understanding life through Marifa Sheikh emphasized the importance of Marifa, gnosis, in understanding true life. To him, 1. Life is a gift of divine consciousness. Every breath and moment are manifestations of Allah's will. 2. Awareness of self leads to awareness of Allah. He linked the concept of knowing oneself to realizing the divine essence within. Through this awareness, life becomes an act of worship, and every action carries spiritual significance. Death as the completion of a journey. In Sheikh's teachings, death is not a punishment or loss, but a necessary step toward ultimate truth. He explained, 1. Death dissolves the ego. It frees the soul from the limitations of the physical body. 2. The soul continues its journey. It moves closer to the divine source, experiencing greater clarity and truth. He used the analogy of a river flowing into the ocean to illustrate this process. The river symbolizes the individual soul, while the ocean represents Allah's infinite essence. Critique of fear-based views on death. Syekh Siti Jenar challenged traditional views that instilled fear of death. He argued that 1. Fear of death stems from ignorance. Without understanding the divine purpose of life and death, people cling to worldly attachments. 2. True believers embrace death with peace. For those who have achieved spiritual awareness, death is a welcome transition to eternal unity with Allah, living a true life. To Sheikh, living a true life meant 1. Aligning with divine principles, acting with sincerity, compassion, and justice. 2. Detaching from worldly illusions, recognizing the temporary nature of material existence and focusing on the eternal. 3. Preparing for death through inner purification. By removing greed, arrogance, and selfishness, one becomes ready to return to Allah. He often recited, "Live as though you will die tomorrow, and die as though you will live forever in Allah's presence." Legacy of Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings on life and death. His teachings have inspired many to 1. Reevaluate the purpose of existence, moving beyond material goals to seek spiritual fulfillment. 2. Embrace death without fear, viewing it as a natural and divine part of life's journey. 3. Live with greater mindfulness, making every moment meaningful in service to Allah. Conclusion. Syekh Siti Jenar's understanding of life and death invites us to see existence from a spiritual perspective. By embracing his teachings, we can find peace in life and prepare ourselves for the transition to eternal unity with the Creator. In the next chapter, we will explore the controversies surrounding Syekh Siti Jenar's decrees and the conflicts that arose with traditional scholars of his time. Chapter 8. Controversial Decrees. Conflict with Traditional Scholars. The teachings of Syekh Siti Jenar, though profound and enlightening, stirred significant controversy among traditional scholars of his time. His unconventional views and methods led to heated debates, misunderstandings, and eventual clashes with the religious authorities. Root causes of the conflicts. Unorthodox teachings. Syekh Siti Jenar's emphasis on direct spiritual experience challenged the established religious frameworks. He downplayed external rituals, urging his followers to focus on inner spiritual awakening. This was seen as a direct challenge to traditional practices upheld by scholars. 2. Radical statements. His declarations, such as, "I am Allah," and interpretations of divine unity, were misinterpreted by many. Scholars accused him of heresy, equating his teachings with blasphemy. Sheikh argued that his words symbolized the unity of existence, not a claim of divinity. 3. Rejection of formal authority. Sheikh often criticized religious institutions for being overly focused on legalistic interpretations of Islam. He believed these institutions neglected the essence of spirituality and inner purification. This critique was perceived as a threat to their authority. Key controversies. 1. Teaching beyond jurisdiction. Syekh Siti Jenar taught independently, attracting followers from various social strata, including marginalized groups. His accessibility and open approach contrasted with the hierarchical structure of traditional scholars. This led to accusations of misleading the masses. 2. Defiance of religious dogma. His interpretation of Islamic teachings often conflicted with the rigid dogma of traditional scholars. For example, he questioned the excessive focus on outward rituals without understanding their deeper meanings. This approach was labeled as deviant by some authorities. 3. Challenge to socio-political norms. Sheikh's teachings also critiqued the intertwining of religion and politics. He viewed this as a distortion of true Islamic values, which should prioritize justice and equality. This stance alienated both religious and political elites. Trials and condemnation. The growing influence of Syekh Siti Jenar eventually led to formal trials conducted by religious authorities. He was accused of spreading teachings that deviated from Islamic orthodoxy. The trials were less about theological debates and more about curbing his influence. Sheikh defended his views eloquently, emphasizing the need for spiritual enlightenment and unity with Allah. However, the verdict was predetermined, and he faced condemnation, symbolizing the tension between orthodoxy and spiritual freedom. Impact of the conflicts. 1. Legacy of division. The conflicts between Syekh Siti Jenar and traditional scholars highlighted the divide between Sharia, exoteric law, and Haqiqa, esoteric truth. This division continues to shape debates in Islamic thought. 2. Inspiration for reform. Despite the opposition, Sheikh's teachings inspired subsequent generations to explore the spiritual dimensions of Islam. His critique of ritualism and emphasis on inner awakening resonate with many to this day. 3. Recognition of diverse approaches. The controversies surrounding Syekh Siti Jenar underscore the importance of accommodating diverse interpretations within the Islamic tradition. Conclusion. The clashes between Syekh Siti Jenar and traditional scholars were not merely theological disputes, but reflections of deeper tensions within the Islamic community. His teachings remind us of the need to balance external observance with inner spirituality, fostering a more holistic understanding of Islam. In the next chapter, we will delve into one of his most profound teachings, the concept of sebangsa Allah and its relevance in understanding the unity of existence. Chapter 9. Deciphering the meaning of sebangsa Allah. Among Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings, the phrase sebangsa Allah stands as one of the most intriguing and profound concepts. Literally translated, it suggests a unity or sameness with Allah. However, the depth of its meaning transcends literal interpretations, inviting us to explore the intricate relationship between humanity and divinity. Unpacking sebangsa Allah. 1. Unity of existence. Wahdatul wujud. Syekh Siti Jenar's use of sebangsa. Allah reflects the idea of divine oneness, often associated with the Sufi concept of wahdatul wujud. He argued that all creation is a manifestation of the divine essence. Thus, every being is inherently connected to Allah. 2. Humanity as a reflection of divinity. Sheikh believed that humans, being created in the image of Allah, possess divine attributes within themselves. This does not mean humans are Allah, but that they reflect His attributes such as mercy, love, and wisdom. 3. The path to divine realization. According to Sheikh, recognizing the sebangsa Allah within oneself is a critical step in the spiritual journey. It involves purifying the heart, understanding one's true nature, and transcending the ego. Challenges in interpretation. 1. Literal misunderstanding. Critics of Syekh often accused him of equating humans with Allah, a concept considered heretical in mainstream Islamic theology. However, his teachings emphasize the interconnectedness of all existence, not equality with the Creator. 2. The need for spiritual maturity. Understanding. Sebangsa. Allah requires a deep spiritual maturity and insight, which many lacked. For Sheikh, this teaching was meant for those on the advanced spiritual path, not the general masses. Relevance of sebangsa Allah. 1. In personal development, recognizing the divine essence within oneself fosters self-awareness, humility, and compassion. It encourages individuals to act in accordance with divine values in their daily lives. 2. In understanding the universe. The concept highlights the interconnectedness of all creation, promoting harmony and respect for all beings. It aligns with modern ecological and social ethics, emphasizing unity and coexistence. 3. In spiritual practice. Sheikh's teaching serves as a reminder that rituals and prayers should lead to a deeper realization of one's connection to Allah. Syekh Siti Jenar's explanation of sebangsa Allah. In one of his discourses, Syekh Siti Jenar elaborates, sebangsa Allah bukanlah penyamaan makhluk dengan khaliq. Ia adalah kesadaran bahwa segala yang wujud, wujud karenanya. Bila kita mengenalinya, kita mengenali hakikat diri kita sebagai ciptaannya. Sebangsa Allah is not equating creation with the Creator. It is the awareness that all existence is because of Him. When we know Him, we understand the reality of ourselves as His creation. Critiques and acceptance. 1. Opposition by traditional scholars. Many scholars viewed sebangsa Allah as a dangerous concept that could lead to misconceptions. They feared it might be used to justify pantheism or diminish the Creator's transcendence. 2. Acceptance among Sufis. Sufi practitioners embraced the concept, seeing it as a profound expression of divine love and unity. For them, it served as a call to transcend superficial religiosity and seek the divine within. Conclusion. The concept of sebangsa. Allah encapsulates Syekh Siti Jenar's vision of a harmonious relationship between humanity and divinity. It challenges us to look beyond the surface of our existence, seeking the divine essence that permeates all life. In the final chapter, we will explore how Sheikh's teachings can be applied to the challenges and opportunities of modern life, making his wisdom relevant to our daily existence. Chapter 10. Applying Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings in modern life. The teachings of Syekh Siti Jenar, though rooted in the mysticism of his time, hold timeless wisdom that can inspire and guide us in navigating the complexities of modern life. His profound insights into self-awareness, the divine essence, and the interconnectedness of existence remain relevant and transformative. 1. Understanding the self in the age of individualism. In a world dominated by materialism and ego-driven pursuits, Syekh Siti Jenar's emphasis on self-awareness and self-purification is more crucial than ever. Practical steps. Regular self-reflection through journaling or meditation. Prioritize inner values over external achievements. Seek spiritual mentors or communities that encourage authentic growth. Outcome. A balanced sense of self that aligns personal ambitions with divine purpose. 2. Fostering unity in a divided world. The concept of sebangsa. Allah reminds us of our shared essence as part of divine creation, promoting unity and compassion. Practical steps. Engage in interfaith and intercultural dialogues. Treat others with empathy, recognizing the divine spark within every individual. Support initiatives that bridge divides, be they racial, religious, or ideological. Outcome. A more harmonious coexistence that transcends superficial differences. 3. Reclaiming spirituality in everyday rituals. Sheikh's critique of empty rituals challenges us to infuse meaning into our spiritual practices. Practical steps. Approach acts of worship with mindfulness and sincerity. Learn the deeper meanings behind prayers, fasting, and other rituals. Use daily activities, work, family time, or even leisure as opportunities for gratitude and divine connection. Outcome. A spiritually enriched life where every moment becomes an act of devotion. 4. Embracing life and death as a single journey. In an era marked by fear of loss and mortality, Sheikh's view of life and death as part of a single journey offers solace and perspective. Practical steps. Contemplate the impermanence of life through practices like visiting graves or studying mortality in sacred texts. Focus on leaving a positive legacy, whether through acts of kindness, knowledge, or community service. Cultivate a sense of surrender, trusting in Allah's greater plan. Outcome. A life lived with purpose and a heart prepared for the hereafter. 5. Challenging dogmatism and seeking truth. Sheikh's teachings encourage questioning rigid interpretations and seeking the essence of truth. Practical steps. Approach religious texts and teachings with critical thinking and an open heart. Balance traditional practices with an understanding of their spiritual intent. Avoid blind adherence to authority. Instead, seek knowledge from credible, compassionate scholars. Outcome. A faith grounded in understanding, free from the constraints of superficial dogma. 6. Relevance to environmental and social justice. The interconnectedness of all existence, as emphasized by Sheikh, aligns with contemporary calls for environmental stewardship and social justice. Practical steps. Advocate for sustainable living practices and ethical consumption. Support policies that protect the marginalized and uphold human dignity. Recognize that care for the earth and humanity is part of fulfilling one's spiritual duty. Outcome. A meaningful contribution to the betterment of society and the environment. 7. Final reflections on living Syekh Siti Jenar's teachings. Syekh Siti Jenar's wisdom invites us to live with intentionality, connecting every action and thought to a higher purpose. In doing so, we not only honor his legacy, but also enrich our own lives with clarity, compassion, and divine connection. As we conclude this audiobook, may his teachings inspire us to embark on a journey toward truth, self-discovery, and divine closeness. Let us strive to see the world through the lens of unity and love, guided by the profound wisdom of Syekh Siti Jenar. Closing words. May Allah bless us with the understanding and ability to apply these teachings in our lives. Let this audiobook serve as a stepping stone for deeper reflection and spiritual growth. Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.